So the net approval rating is minus 59 for the government. So 70% of people disapprove of the Labour government. Apparently 11% approve. Where are they? Now, it's obviously every day that goes by you hear a new scandal about Labour, which you did with the Tories and you will with whoever's in next. I mean, that's how it works. People will sling mud. But one of the reasons more recently is Angela Rayner. And Angela Rayner's not doing a great job. I mean, Bridget Phillipson definitely had the crown for the Wicked Witch. She was the evil axe-wielding education killer. Angela Rayner is the home killer. She's the one that wants you home. She's the one that will do anything possible to tax the living shit out of your home, but not hers. Now, I remember Angela Rayner and Bridget Phillipson, in fact, all of them, having a real pop at private schools and independent schools, and a real pop and saying, well, it's a tax. You've had a tax relief. Now you're being taxed with VAT on education. Pay it. Shut up and pay it. Don't look for a loophole. Do you remember the Conservatives had given private schools a tax loophole, which they had been avoiding? And there was widespread condemnation that these people that choose their school for their children to meet their children's needs and pay for it, don't ask the state to pay for it, they pay for it themselves, and they don't use their state place, so that's left over for another child to use, and they don't ask the state for anything. They independently educate their children, independent of the state, not putting any burden on the state. They were vilified and they were called every kind of name under the sun. Their children were called every kind of name under the sun. Terry Christian, old school TV presenter, called the schools, private schools, CUNT factories. Yep. So Angela Rayner called kids that went to Eton scum. So the Labour Party don't like private schools. So their rhetoric is they've closed the tax loophole that private schools enjoyed. Well, that's the same loophole that Angela Rayner's just jumped through so that she doesn't need to pay 40 grand stamp duty on her third house. Now, the arguments are she can do what she likes, she hasn't broken the law. Well, hang on a minute. The scum that chose to send their children to a school because it suited their needs, and scum's her words, not mine, those scummy people that didn't put any imposition on the state system, that didn't burden the state system, that didn't ask anything from the state system, just quietly educated their children where they wanted to, where the education would suit their children's needs. Most likely many of them had come out of the state system where that system didn't suit their children's needs. But that was a tax loophole. And these were nasty, horrible tax dodgers that avoided that tax loophole for educating their children, despite the fact that, of course, we've never taxed education because that's just insane. And when people turn around, somebody said to me in a response on one of these videos the other day, you said nowhere in the world taxes it. Well, Greece does. I was like, yeah, go and do your research. Go and look at what happened when Greece taxed, past tense, education. It didn't go well. There's been absolutely zero success in taxing education. That's why no one does it. But the Labour Party, they don't want success, do they? They can't stand success. They just want your money. But back to my point, Angela Rayner has found herself a little loophole. But the people that sent their children to the independent sector and didn't pay tax on it, and when VAT was put on education and parents wanted to pay a year in advance so that they didn't have to pay the VAT, they were looking for a tax loophole. They were scum. But it's all right for Ange, is it? She can look for a tax loophole, but no one else can. And everyone gets on their high horse, don't they? Everyone's practically on a 17-2 hunter. They are so high on their horse, it is going to break every bone when they fall off it, because they're so busy saying what posh, nasty, privileged, elitist people these people are that choose, that dare to do something different to the state system. How dare they do something that's right for their children? How dare they save up and send their children to a different school? How dare they go without things so that they can send their children to a school that suits their needs? How dare they put their child in a school so that the state school doesn't have to have their child? How dare they possibly complain that when they did the maths and the finance to see if they could send their child to said school, those numbers were blown up in smoke when Rachel Reeves put VAT on education, and she did it early. She didn't just do it in September 2025 when she was supposed to have done. No, she did it in January. How dare they complain? But Ange, buy as many houses as you like, my love, because you're a working class girl done good, aren't you? And we're allowed that when it's buying houses. We're allowed to be a working class girl done good when we're buying a house. And when our name's Angela Rayner or Bridget Phillipson, she's got a history with property, go and have a look at that. But not when it's actual parents who just want the right thing for their kids. No, can't do that. And that, for me, is exactly why Labour's approval ratings are at an all-time low. Well, that and the fact that we can't afford Labour, that they've taken every last penny and the economy is about to implode and they're not listening. And you know what? Not only are they not listening, if they do let any negativity come into their little ether about what's going in the economy, what do they say? It was all their fault.